(41개국) 4천만 독자가 읽은 밀리언셀러 모리와 함께한 화요일. 저자 미치 앨범은 14번에 걸쳐 매주 화요일마다 죽음을 앞둔 교수 모리 슈워츠를 만나 그에게 들은 인생 경험과 교훈을 책에 담았는데요. 모리 슈워츠 교수가 돌아가신 지 30년이 지난 최근 모리 교수님께서 직접 쓰신 책이 그의 아들에 의해 발견되었다는 놀라운 소식이 전해져 아들 롭 슈워츠님과 인터뷰를 나누게 되었습니다. 네, 너무 반갑습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
Very nice to meet you.
안녕하세요라는 말씀은 어디서 혹시 배우신 거예요?
I've been in Korea many times. I am the Asia correspondent for Billboard magazine, which is the famous music industry magazine.
그래서 BTS나 뭐 이런 글도 기고하시고 그러셨구나. 모리와 함께한 화요일이라는 책이 25년 전에 이제 출간되었는데 그 한국에서는 김연아 선수가 인생책으로 꼽고 있고 연극으로도 만들어지고 그랬거든요. 그 모리와 함께한 화요일이라는 책이 한국에서도 이렇게 인기가 많았다는 사실을 좀 알고 계셨는지.
Actually, I'm not so familiar with the fame of Tuesdays with Maury in Korea, and it was very successful in Japan and extremely successful in China as well. Not only the book, but the play was extremely successful in China. So I'm not at all surprised that it's successful in Korea.
한국에서는 이제 학교 도서관이라든지 병원이라든지 어디에나 그 모리와 함께한 화요일이 꽂혀 있곤 했는데 저 같은 경우는 군대에서 봤거든요. 그래서 거기 있는 군 장병들이 모리와 함께한 화요일을 다 읽었던 그런 기억이 있어요.
That's really great. I'm really excited to hear that. I didn't know it actually. I knew about what was going on in China, and of course Japan is also popular in Korea. That's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that.
그 내용을 사실 많이 까먹기도 하고 그랬는데 지금까지도 모리와 함께한 화요일을 떠올리면은 마음이 따뜻해져요. 이렇게 적어놨는데 마치 말씀을 다 알아들을 수는 없지만 따뜻했던 할아버지 품에 안긴 것처럼 좀 마음이 따뜻해지는 그런 효과가 있는 것 같아요.
It really means a lot to us. Let me tell you, the family is very happy that my father's words and wisdom spread all over the world. And I didn't know that much about Tuesdays with Maury in Korea, so I'm really happy to hear it. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 저희는 이제 모리와 함께한 화요일을 읽은 사람들인데 아드님께서는 모리와 함께 월, 화, 수, 목, 금, 토일을 다 보내신 분이거든요. 아버님께서 어떤 아버님이셨는지.
Yeah, I have lots of stories. It is a little hard to say because, you know, I don't want to make him out to be a saint or something like that. Oh my God, you're so lucky to have him as a father. I wish my father was like him, all of this kind of things. And, you know, as a little kid, when you hear that, you think, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, he's strict or whatever. He doesn't let me do this or do that. That's the way a little kid thinks, right? A little child. But when you grow up, you realize like, yeah, he was actually a pretty amazing father and amazing person. So I think that you actually get a good sense of who he was, both from Tuesdays with Maury and the new book, The Wisdom of Maury.
책 얘기가 나왔으니 말인데요. 모리와 함께 화요일을 읽은 사람들은 그와 관련이 있는 새로운 책이 출간됐다는 사실을 알았을 때 좀 다들 깜짝 놀랄 것 같아요. 영화 같은 일인 것 같은데 어떻게 발견하게 되셨는지 좀 궁금하거든요.
Okay, I'll tell you the whole story. And this is the year is 1989. And I lived at home for 3 months. It's the last time I lived at home with my parents. And my father was writing this book that we have now, The Wisdom of Maury. And then he finished it in 1992, but he wasn't able to find a publisher. And he got sick, right? And then he got really ill in 1994, 1995. As you know, he appeared on this American TV news magazine program called Nightline, which is where Mitch Albom saw him. And then Mitch decided to come back because his old professor was ill. He was only going to meet my father one time, but he was so taken with his conversation, with his, you know, what he was saying, that Mitch met him for 14 weeks consecutively, as you know, in Tuesdays with Maury. He wrote that. And then my father passed away. And Mitch writes Tuesdays with Maury, and it becomes this gigantic hit in the United States and also worldwide. And one day I pulled open the drawer of one of his desk drawers, and I found the manuscript. And as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was because I had talked with him in great depth about this writing when he was doing it. So I found the actual manuscript in his desk. And I should make this very clear because some people have misunderstood. Some people have said that I compiled this book from my father's notes or something like that. That's totally incorrect. My father wrote this book from the first word to the last word. He completely finished this book and I just edited it.
그러니까 이게 어떻게 보면 모리와 함께한 화요일보다 쓰여지기는 좀 더 먼저 쓰여진 글이라는 건데 혹시 이것을 출간하실 때, 그러니까 책의 형태로 이제 출간을 해야 되겠다라고 생각하셨을 때 좀 조심하셨다거나 가장 신경 쓰셨던 부분이 무엇이었을지 좀 궁금하거든요.
Right. So that's a great question, and it's a very simple answer. My father's voice is the most important thing in this book. So when I edited, the number one thing in my mind was to make sure that I kept my father's voice, right? Because his voice is very clear in Tuesdays with Maury, and it's very clear in this book. You know, it's not my voice. I'm just the editor. This is his book that he wrote, so I had to keep his voice very clear and strong throughout the book. And that was my primary goal.
지금 한국 사회가 어느 때보다 좀 각박하고 눈물겹다는 생각을 했거든요. 일단은 먹고 살기 힘들고 다들 그러다 보니까 예민하고 어떤 이념에 따라서 서로 갈라져 있고 서로 싸우고 또 예전에 없던 흉악한 범죄들이 자꾸만 일어나고 이런 사회가 된 것 같거든요. 근데 좀 모리 할아버지께서 이런 우리 한국 사회를 보면 어떤 말씀을 해주셨을 것 같은지.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is not only in Korea. I think this is all over the world. You know, economic times are getting tougher, and I think it's pretty similar all over the world. The advice that my father would have, I don't know if it can, you know, treat this really huge problem that we have, but he would tell people at the end of your life, when you're lying on your deathbed, the size of your bank account is going to make no difference whatsoever. What's going to matter to you is the time that you spent with your loved ones, the people who love you, and the people who you love. That's what you're going to remember. So don't worry so much about how much money you've saved in the bank, but rather, you know, strengthen your relationships with the ones who love you and the ones that you love. So I think in this case, he would say the same thing, that concentrate on the people who are close to you and be as kind to them as possible, also to other people in the world. And, you know, that kindness will return to you. Even if you don't have a huge amount of money, this will really increase the quality of your life. I think that's what he would say.
모리와 함께한 화요일이 전 세계적으로 그리고 저를 포함한 많은 사람들한테 이렇게 지혜를 나눠준 것처럼 이번 책 우리나라 언어로는 이토록 멋진 인생이라니가 꼭 그의 버금가는 인기를 얻었으면 좋겠다는 마음입니다. 시간 내주셔서 너무 감사합니다.
시간 내주셔서 감사합니다.
Thank you so much.
감사합니다.
Bye.
Thank you.